going back, when they asked you what you bring to the table, is eventually, do you want the traditional role of you're going to be the homemaker, you're going to be cooking and cleaning and taking care of the kids, while your husband is going to be going to work and providing for you?
Yeah, I kind of already have that mentality, like once I no longer want to work, and I want that choice to be like up to me. If I don't want to work, I don't have to.
Okay, so I'll get back to my question. So when did you start dating?
15.
15. And was the expectation at 15, when you were dating guys in high school who probably didn't have a job, that they should be financially supporting you and providing?
In whatever way that they can.
So how would that look even at 15?
So at 15, I mean, we both still had the same values. Like, he knew that that's what the expectation is. But at 15, like, it would just be like him courting me, taking me on dates.
Courting you, taking you on dates.
Treating me like a gentleman, would. Being respectful of me. And yeah.
Okay. So just as far as the being able to financially support and provide, is that like just paying for dates, or was there expectations that he like pay your car bill, pay for, trying to think, I don't know, your nails done, stuff like that, or no?
I wouldn't require, like, for example, like nail stuff. Like, those I think are things that I could take care of myself, but it's obviously like a nice gesture if they can, and appreciated. I would say more so like those things fall into like once I'm living with somebody, that's like, no, yeah, I would expect them to be able to sustain like household amenities, the rent, all of that.
And what's the age range that you want to date?
That I want to date? I'm dating.
Okay, how old's he?
The person that I'm dating? He's 25.
Okay. So, and before that, have you dated anybody older, or?
Yeah, I have. I've obviously dated before, like, and I've only dated older.
Okay. All right. Because I was going to say, I mean, you're 22, you're still in college.
Yeah.
The expectation that a man who's in college to financially support and provide could be difficult, but it sounds like you do have a tendency to date older men. One question for you, going back to some of this conversation around submission, you said a man should have the ability to financially support and provide for their partner. I want to get a show of hands from the table here. Should men financially support and provide and protect for their partner? Show of hands. And then now, do you agree with the following statement? Women should be virgins. They should be submissive. They should cook. They should clean. And what else? What else should they be? I think that's those four things. They should be virgins. They should be submissive. Then they should cook, and they should clean.
How about just those two? How about just we start with those two?
Just virgin and submissive? Yeah. We can, okay, we'll keep it to those two. Any objections from any of the fifth one that they should not be involved in sex work. Any objections to any of the following?
By submissive, you mean like roles? Sorry, not to.
Well, but it's like, y'all women love to say men should do X, Y, Z, but if men say women should do X, Y, Z, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, that's kind of sexist that you think women should have to clean, or should have to cook, or should have to take care of the household.
I think you're describing a perfect woman, and then a lot of women are describing a perfect man. When I want a man who's strong and going to protect me, and he's loyal, and he's got these Christian values, and he's got lots of money, and he's going to pay for me to get my nails done, and all that kind of stuff. And I think what you're describing would be, a very perfect woman. And we obviously live in a real world where a lot of people aren't perfect, but I don't think the idea of that's what a perfect woman is wrong.
I'm going to have to give a little pushback here. I think that the amount of men which you could shake a tree and would fall out that have some kind of Christian values and are willing to provide for their men their women is pretty overwhelming, honestly. I think that the amount, if there was a tree of men that you could shake, I think that you would, when you shook it, most of the men that popped out would be those kinds of men who could provide for you, and have some kind of Christian values, right?
I mean, everybody could have their preference. There's nothing wrong if they want that, but not everybody's going to be in that category.
Hang on. We'll get right back to this. I'd like to finish the exchange though, real quick. So, assuming that that's true, right? That they would be willing to provide, and they had some sort of like moral values. I don't think we're talking about the perfect man here, right? We're not saying that they have to be 6'3". We're not saying that they have to make $1 million a year. We're not saying that they have to have perfectly chiseled abs. It's actually a pretty low standard that you're saying here, that they just provide some kind of living for the woman and have some sort of Christian values. That's an awful lot of men.
Yeah.
Do you think it's an awful lot of women who are virgins and would be submissive, though?
I'd like to
That's
really
not
see
Hang on,
my
let her answer.
Who?
No, I don't think there are, and I think that was one of the things I wanted to sort of was a talking point that I was like happy to get into on this show, was that I think society and you know, just modern feminism is kind of telling everyone you don't need to be this, you don't need to be that, but you know, men do want women like that and nobody wants to admit it, or like women don't want to admit it and say, you know, well, yeah, men want women like that. So I do.
Yeah, but going back to your earlier point, you were kind of trying to make the argument that, well, this is the perfect rendition, right? If men have these values, they're the perfect man. If women have these values, it's the perfect. And so what I think was happening there was a great conflation, right? Is that you were basically trying to say, well, we're on par with each other because there's very few men who would actually do this, just like there's very few women who are available to have these traits. But that's just clearly not true. Right?
No, I didn't say that. So I do agree with you that there would be more men who would be happy to provide, happy, you know, and everything you've said. Yeah. And I think women are much fussier when it comes to dating. So that's why it may seem.
Well, then
like
why did you say it's the perfect man?
I would
woman,
after what you said, I would rephrase it to say that would be ideal,
okay.
And then ideal woman. But I do agree that there are very likely more men who would have those traits than there
like
would be women.
overwhelmingly more men.
I feel like because you kind of described the perfect woman, and we know most women aren't virgins. So it's like
That's
she's
true.
looking at it like, okay, you're describing a perfect woman, so maybe you're trying to say that it's the perfect
Well,
man.
I don't think.
Yeah.
hang
I
on.
wanna
add
So
something
What is
to
the
that.
male
Here's the
equivalent of a
thing.
virgin?
Perfect meaning
Would
without
love to.
flaw.
Protector?
Yeah.
Right?
The only
Which
thing
is
that's
just because, hang on, just because something is rare doesn't mean it's perfect.
Exactly.
So I don't think that just because a woman is submissive and a virgin, she's a perfect woman.
Yeah.
She can still be an annoying, right? She could still cause all kinds of problems for people. She could be terrible, right? In all sorts of ways.
personality.
I wouldn't say that makes her perfect. I wouldn't say that just because it's rare that makes it perfect. So no, I think
I would
that
rephrase
this
it
was
to
kind
say
of,
ideal.
Yeah, well, I don't even think it's ideal. I think it's just what there would be a normal expectation of, okay, if you want to be provided for, I want you to not have taken 50, right? Like, that's just, doesn't that seem totally reasonable? Doesn't that seem totally reasonable?
Can I
it
add
does,
something?
right? It seems totally reasonable.